What advice would you give to a young person today about, let's say, career, how to have a career they can be proud of, how they can have a life to be proud of? You've had a non-standard life.
I've had a lucky life in which I have fought to mess things up, and fate has always thrown me a bone.
You've traveled in South America and had hobos chase you with machetes. Yeah,
Once.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that
that was
happened.
a series of poor life decisions.
Yeah.
And I ran away. I ran away to South America. That was a poor decision. I ran away from the guy with the knife. That was a good decision.
Yeah.
I came to America. That was a good decision. Came to LA. That's, I think, been a good decision. It's been fun to see a different side of America and be in a different creative environment. LA is still amazing for creativity and entertainment, the wider entertainment industry stuff. I think that's been fun. What would I say? I would say when you get a chance, take it. That was one thing I did do well at. When I got chances, I was good at taking them. I would say do not worry too young about your career. I would say worry about having a rounded intellectual inner life, because you're going to spend the whole of your life in your own head. So the more interesting you find your own head, the more interesting you find the world, the less you're going to annoy yourself. So I would say do not do a vocational degree as an undergraduate. That's I would say do something else, do something, random, and then focus afterwards. That would be, I think, I was advocating against the obsession that people had about 4 years ago with STEM subjects. And now AI is going to make them all irrelevant anyway, perhaps. So, it's interesting to see everything changes. Jobs are not that hard. Turn up, be enthusiastic, turn up in person, be enthusiastic, help people, say you'll be fine in any job. People,
Did you always know when the chance to take showed up? Like, this is interesting, this is new, this is different?
Not always, no, but I did the big times where the chance to move to America. For me, that was a big moment. My life was a mess.
That was weird timing. So I read that Sam wrote you an email. In South America?
I was in South America, in Colombia, when there was a war raging there.
Yep.
I was making a series of very poor life choices and a lack of life skills, age 25. My latest poor choice was to get up too early because the police didn't start work till 9, but the muggers started at 8. And so I was out walking along the beach at 8, and these guys, this Rasta turned up who I'd been talking to the day before and started trying to talk to me. And then 2 guys came up to talk to him, and I couldn't tell if they were trying to mug him because he owed them money or he'd bought me to them. But I did notice one of them had a machete and the other had a kind of broken gun. So I thought, this is not good. And I ran off, sprinted down the beach in my silly shoes, and got to the chance for once in my life to run over to a road, jump into a taxi and scream, take me anywhere. Feel like I'm in an action movie. And the guy's chasing after the machete. And the taxi driver looks back, sees the dude with the machete and goes, "Sí, con amigos?" And I'm like, no, they're not my friends. Yeah. Get me out of here. And then he drove me up the street into a bit where the town was. It's kind of between the old town and the new town in Cartagena. And I got out of the car and then cut my foot on a rock. That was the sum total of my injuries. And then went to an internet cafe, because this was probably late 98, and got the chance to come and work on a game for 6 weeks in New York. And I was like, well, if I stay in South America much longer, I'm going to get myself killed, because I was getting into silly stuff. And so went to New York, and they're just starting Rockstar. And so I got to sort of write the mission statements and whatnot there, and help set the tone for that, and just ended up staying. Had to come and go a bit while all visas got sorted out, and then just ended up staying for it. Thought, I'll stay for a year because New York's pretty fun. It actually was not that. This was the height of Giuliani before he was a maniac. So he... you couldn't, when you went to bars, you were told you couldn't dance because they were trying to clamp down on New York being fun. So it was actually less fun than London, but there's still a great energy in New York, and got exposed to the kind of madness of New York capitalism.
By the way, as we hear sirens in the background, that always makes me think of New York.
Yeah, of
Whenever I'm in
course.
New York,
Yeah.
there's always sirens.
Steam coming out the floor, people screaming at you. I mean, you get people screaming at you in LA at least.
Yeah, but it's
Uh,
more
yeah,
it's more
it's more spread
spread
out. You
out,
can
you
get a
know.
bit more quiet here.
Yeah.
And I love the energy. You know, it was great to work hard and then be able to go out for dinner late, and New York was really, really a fun experience for me.